Hi students and welcome to the class. The first thing you need to do is you need to go to aplusstudents.com. Okay, that's your first requirement. Once you have connected, then what you need to do is you need to go to mathematics as the subject. Okay, because this is a maths class, we will be studying maths. Your grade level is grade 8. Just a minute. Your grade level is grade 8. And the topic for today is data and graph. So we would be looking at how to represent given data on a graph paper, okay? The chapter number is, let me give you the chapter number. The chapter number is 24. And the lesson number is 11. Okay. And the name of the lesson is Create Histograms. Okay. So in the last class, we saw how to read a histogram. Let's see today how we can create a histogram. Okay. So I'll just try to get the first question, then we'll see. So the first question be over here is there would be a given data, right? So we would use that data to create a histogram. Okay. This is the information that has been given to us. I'll just realign this. Okay, so that we have enough space. Okay. Use the data to complete the histogram and broken tiles. Okay, just a minute, please. So this is the information given to us, and they're talking about, okay, they're tracking the number of broken tiles per year, right? In question number 1. So the first thing what we need to do is Danville Flooring track the number of broken tiles in each shipment it received last year and use the data to complete the histogram. Okay. And this is the information they are giving to us. Sometimes there were 15 broken, sometimes there were 22 broken, sometimes there were 21 broken, and so on. This is the information, right? So what we need to do is we need to do the tally marking first. Okay, this is known as tally markings. What, see, we can do individual also, but there would be too many columns. So what we prefer doing is we break the gaps, right? From 1 tile to be 5 tiles broken, 6 to 10. We look at the minimum number, that was 5, and the maximum number was 25, right? And then 11 to 15 tiles broken. Then we have 16 to 20 tiles broken. And then we have 21 to 25 tiles which are broken, right? So once we start doing the question, what we do is, okay, let's do the tally first. We look at 15, right? So we make in the range of 1 to 11 to 15, we make a 1 over here. 22, this is over here. Okay, 21, still here. 8, right? 6 to 10, 8 lies in this range. 19, 16 to 20, 19 lies in this range. 25 lies in this range. 20, 16 to 20. 10 lies in this range. 5 lies in this range. 16, 16 to 20, it lies in this range. 6 lies in this range. 13 over here. 17, okay, and 6. So these are the tally markings we have, right? So between 1 and 5 broken, we had 1 only, right? Between 6 and 10, we had 4 broken tiles, right? 11 to 15, we had 2 broken tiles. 16 to 20, we had another 4 broken tiles. And 21 to 25, we had 3 broken tiles, right? What we need to do is we need to confirm the numbers, okay? How many total numbers were there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, right? So when we add all these numbers together, it should come out to be equal to the same number. Okay. So we can say 1 plus 4 is 5, 5 plus 2 is 7, 7 plus 3 is 10, and 14, right? The total of this is 14. That is the same as the question given to us. Let's make separators over here so that we can identify clearly. This is known as tally markings. Okay. Tally marking is basically counting of the values, okay, of the repetitions, of the frequency. So now let's suppose if we need to draw, the main question was draw the histogram, right? We need to draw the histogram. Let's see what we can do with this question. Okay, I'll just pick up a grid. Okay, we just select a grid and let's do it on the grid. Okay, so if I have this grid with me, what should be on the horizontal axis? We need, the first thing we need to do is we need to do the labelings. Okay, so on the horizontal axis, we are looking at number of broken tiles. Okay, on the y-axis, we are looking at number of shipments. Okay, so the axis is very important for us. We draw the axis over here and we say that for every two boxes, this ranges between 1 and 5. This is ranges between 6 and 10. This is our choice, whatever we want to choose on the x-axis, right? I'm using two boxes on the x-axis for representing 1 to 5, right? We can use 5 boxes, we can use 1 box as well. This is from 11 to 15. This is from 16 to 20. And this would be 21 to 25. We always put an arrow on the axis, okay? What is the maximum number of broken tiles? The maximum number of broken tiles was 4, right? So we say this is 1, it could be 2, 3, and 4, and we say 5 over here. So what we do is we start drawing the histogram, okay? From the range of 1 to 5, how many tiles were broken? There was a single tile that was broken, right? So we can draw this bar over here. From 6 to 10, how many tiles were broken? From 6 to 10, 4 tiles were broke, right? So in the range of 6 to 10, we look at 4 over here. It says 4. So, right? So we go, our height is the frequency. So we go till 4. Okay. Then we have 11 to 15. 11 to 15 was 2. So from 11 to 15, this was 2. And 16 to 20, it was 4. 16 to 20, it was 4. Okay. And 21 to 25, it was 3. Agreed. So either we can shade them, or what we do is in mathematics we don't do shading like this and like we do in the drawings. What we do is we make these lines. Okay, the shading is done by the lines. Okay, so I can always highlight these lines if I'm already, if because you are using a single color pencil, right? So what we can do is we can change the direction of the lines to show different bars so that each bar can be differentiated easily over here. Okay, and they can give us a, this is the histogram that's been drawn, right? What they can add to the question is, let's suppose if this was the part A, part B says find the number of shipments which had least broken, right, tiles. So when we are looking at this, even through the telemarkings, we can find the answer. The value with the least frequency is the answer, or the least height. So we can say 1 to 5 shipments had least broken tiles because the height is 1 over here. Okay. Okay. Moving on further, let's look at another question. Question number 2. Okay. Do we agree on this? Okay. I'll just go for the next question. In the next question, let's see if let's draw the diagram. If these values are given to us, and the question number 2 says, sorry, this is question number 2. I'll just rearrange it so that we have more space. Okay. And let's break it up in the half. I'll change the size as well. Okay. Don't worry about that. Commuting in minutes. We change the size. We have these numbers. Use the data to draw. Okay. And this is given. So use the data to complete the histogram below. A business magazine surveyed its readers about the commuting times, right? So we are looking at the commuting time that was from one place to another, right? So these are the minutes given to us, right? So what the first thing what we do is we look at the time, right? And we do the telemarkings. So what we can do over here is we can create a range of the time, right? So let's look at what was the minimum time. The minimum time we can see is 9. And what was the maximum time we can see? It's in the range of 90s, right? So we can make a bar of 10 each. We can make a bar of 20 each, right? But if we are making a bar of 10 each, that means some of the bars might be empty. Okay. The heights it would be like very low heights. So let's try to make for the ranges. Let's do tally markings. And let's use a range of 20 minutes, right? So we say from 0 to 19 minutes, 20 to 39 minutes, 40 to 59, 60 to 79, and 80 to 99. Okay. So the first value 9, we make one marking over here. 15, still in the same. 20, 21, 23, 34, 48, 63, right? 65, 67, 78, and 79. Okay. So for the fifth marking, we always cancel this. We make a group of 5. We make 4 straight lines and 1 slant line. That would create a group of 5 markings together. Okay. So now we have 90 and 95 left. Okay. So we have 90, make a marking, and 95, we make another marking. Okay. Let's write down the values of the markings. Okay. Can we say these were 2, these were 4, this was 1, this was 5, and this was 2 again, right? So let's put it in a box so that our markings are clear to us. And these were tally markings. This working is known as tally markings, okay? So don't worry about it. I'll just pick up the grid. I'll just pick up a blank grid so that we can use it for our drawing. Okay, okay. Let's say we have the grid over here. What should be on the horizontal axis? See, we are looking at two different things in the question, right? What we are looking at is time and by the range of the time, right? How many, what was the height on, so what we can say on the x-axis is, we can take the time, right? This could be time in minutes, agreed? But on the y-axis, what they are saying is, we are looking at the number of commuters, these were different commuters using different time to travel, right? So on the y-axis, we are taking is number of commuters or number of commutes, right? Because we are looking at this, right? So what can be the maximum height? 5 can be the maximum. So we can say this is 1, this is 2, 3, 4, and this could be 5, right? And the time we took was in the durations of 0 to 19 and so on. So again, let's try to take two boxes each. 0 to 19, this would be 20 to 39, this would be 40 to 59, this would be 60 to 79, and the last one would be 80 to 99, right? So in the time between 0 to 19 minutes, how many number of commutes were there? There were two commutes, right? So we make a bar over here that shows two commutes. Agreed? Between 20 and 39, how many commutes were there? There were total 4 commutes. Okay? Do we agree on this? Okay, thank you. So what basically we are doing is the information that ungrouped data. Ungrouped data is a simple sequence of numbers that is given to us. We are trying to represent that data by a histogram. A histogram will show us how many numbers of repetitions were there. Okay. So we can say between 20 and 39, there were 4, right? What about the next one? Between 40 and 59, it was just a one commute. The time duration required between 40 and 59 minutes was one time it only happened, right? 60 to 79 was 50, sorry, 5. Let's move it over here. Okay, agreed. This was height was 5, and 80 to 99 minutes was by 2 commutes, right? It happened twice only, so we make it over here. Okay, how do we say, if we are using a pencil same color, right? So how we do it is, we have to highlight, right? We have to identify the graph. So what we do is we shade them, right? You don't shade every single one of them. Easiest way is to shade the alternates, draw lines in the alternates, right? So this is the histogram represented by this information. So by looking at the graph, we can say how many commutes were there between 60 and 79. There were 5 commutes, right? Rather than looking at the data and processing the data, we have created a histogram that would give us the information. And you need to remember that the bars in the histogram do not have a gap between them. They are connected to each other, right? So whenever we draw a histogram, we will draw a histogram such that the bars are touching each other. Okay. So let's try question number 3. Okay. Let's try question number 3. I'll just copy question number 3 for you. You would have the same questions on your screen, right? So the question over here, they have given us a group data. Okay. Group data means in the previous question that I'll show you the information. What am I talking about? See, in this question, what is happening is they have given us the information in form of a grid. In question number 2, the information given to us was just random numbers, right? This is known as ungrouped data. Okay, but the information, when this information is in a grid, this would be known as group data. Okay, so for question number 3, it says a pet store owner had a staff count the number of fishes in each tank. So what they have done for us is they have simplified the equation, like they have made the grid already for us, right? This is the information that we were trying to find through the tally markings. They have already done that part for us. Okay, so our calculations would be simpler. Okay, let's look at this question. What can happen over here is number of fishes 0 to 9. They have identified the ranges. There were 25 fishes, 15, 20, 10 and 10, right? Let's pick up the grid and let's try to draw. Okay, I'm just using a blank grid so that we can use the grid as per our requirement, right? So if we have a grid over here, on the x-axis we know that it would be the range, right? And the range over here is defined by the number of fish. Agreed? So on the x-axis we have the number of fish. The y-axis is always represented by the frequency. The term frequency means the repetitions. How many times did it happen, right? So this thing is represented by frequency. Frequency gives us the repetitions, okay? So on the y-axis we will have frequency, okay? So let's see what gaps can we take. If we are taking, yeah, we need to go till 25, right? Because the highest frequency is 25. So this will be represented by number of tanks on the y-axis, okay? So what we can do is we can always take this, we can say 0 to 9. This is 10 to 19, right? This is 20 to 29. This is 30 to 39. And the next one is 40 to 49, right? On the y-axis, what we can do is we can say this is the maximum was 25, right? If we can make 5 partitions, so we can say if this was 25, then each partition would be 5 each, right? So we have our partitions as per our graph paper. If you have a big sheet of paper, you can make any partition as per your requirement. You can take 25 boxes on the y-axis as well, but it would be a waste of page, right? We do not waste the resources. So what they are saying is between 0 and 9 it was 25, right? So let's see, between 0 and 9 the height would be 25. Agreed? What about the next one? Between 10 and 19 the height should be 15, right? So between 10 and 19 the height should be 15 and so on. We do this. Next we do 20. Between 20 and 29 the height was 20. Okay, the next one is 10, that is 30 and 39. Between 30 and 39 it is 10, the height is 10. That means number of tanks were 10, which had a height between 30, there were 10 tanks which had 30 to 39 fishes in it, right? Okay, and the last one is 40 to 49 is 20 again. Okay, so we can say this is our histogram that has been drawn, and to highlight on the grid we simply, if you're using a same color pencil, right, obviously it's a diagram, we never use a pen, so we just make alternate lines. We highlight alternate bars that would identify each bar separately, right? Easier to identify. So I hope we understand this. Is this clear? Any questions regarding this? See, histograms are used to represent raw data, sometimes ungrouped data, Sometimes they would group the data. See, the previous case was ungrouped data. From the ungrouped data, we changed it. This was ungrouped data, right? We changed the ungrouped data into grouped data because now we had a reference point, right? But in question number 3, they already gave us group data. So we do not have to do the tally markings, right? We directly move on to the questions, okay? Okay. If you're done with this, let's try another question. Let's see what they're asking us. Okay. The next question also okay, they have given us group data. Whenever I'm talking about group data, that means we do not have to worry about simplifying or doing the tally markings, okay? I'll leave the grid over here so that we can use this later. Okay, this is question number 4. What they are saying is, Eric, a candy store employee, placed peppermint candies into jars of various sizes, right? These are the size, number of candies, number of jars, right? 1 to 20 peppermint candies, 25 jars, 21 to 40, and so on, given information, right? What we need to do is we need to create a histogram to represent this information. So let's see how we can create a histogram. If we have this information, the first thing we need to do is we need to find the number of labelings, okay? We need to find the first value would always be on the x-axis, the second value is always on the y-axis, okay? This is the standard that we need to follow. We can say this, draw the axis. On the axis, it would be number. Labeling of the axis is very important, right? Peppermint candies, right? On the x-axis, we will have peppermint candies. And on the y-axis, we will have number of jars. Okay. So we can see that the partition is for 20 each, right? So we can say this is from 1 till 20. This is 21 till 40. This is 41 till 60. This is 61 to 80. And this is 81 to 100, right? This is the given information which we have on the grid. And for the reference point, we have the number of jars. It's still 25 the maximum. So easiest way to represent over here is with a gap of 5. 5, 10, 15, 20, and 25, right? So between 1, so between 1 and 20, how many jars were there? Between 1 and 20, there were 25 jars, right? Agreed. All we are doing is we are bringing the information from the group data, from the graph, from the grid onto the graph. What we are saying is between 1 and 20 on the x-axis, there would be a 25 value on the y-axis, right? So the bar will have a height of 25. The next one is from 21 to 40. What should be the height? Yes, the height should be 5, right? So we simply select this and the height is 5. We draw it over here. This is the height of 5. Okay. The next one, 41 to 60 has a height of 10. Okay. And so on. Sorry for muting. I have a sore throat. That's why I sometimes mute. Okay. The next one is 61 to 80 would mean, what is the height? The height is 5. That means 61 to 80 candies were in 5 jars, right? So we simply draw the bar over here. Okay. And the last value would be from 81 to 100. It was in how many jars? They were in 20 jars. So the last value would be this. From 81 to 100 candies were in 20. Okay. Agreed. And what we do simply is we highlight the bar. We do not have to color every bar, we just need to shade them, right? And in maths, the shading is done by lines, not by not like you do it in arts. It's just lines would be more than enough. Okay. So in this question, what we did was we took the information from the grid and we drew the histogram, right? So what will happen? Let's suppose if this histogram is in front of us, right? So can I say which of the quantities of number of which quantity of candies had the least number of jars? So, but just by looking at this diagram, looking at this histogram, we can assess a lot of information. But through this also, grid also, we can see because 25 was the maximum, but 5 was the least. So, when the information is in a grid form, we can assess the information, we can find our requirements. When it's form of a graph, it has a more pictorial reference and it's easier to understand, right? So we did the given information was changed into a histogram, and the histogram bars will never have a gap between them, right? The gap in the bars is in bar graph. That is a separate topic. We are looking at creating histograms for now. Okay, let's look at another example. Are there any questions? If there are any questions, please let me know. The next question has, okay, ungrouped data. And we know that how we can simplify the ungrouped data. This is the group data because the grid is already given to us, right? On an ungrouped data, the information given to us will be something like this. This is question number 5. A candy dispenser put various numbers of orange candies into the bags. And these are the number of candies that are given to us. Nothing else. This is for us is ungrouped data. We need to change this ungrouped data or information into group data. So what we can do is we can suppose a range, right? Let's look at the minimum number of candies per bag. Minimum number is 3 and the maximum number would be 25, right? So we can make a group of 5. So can we say from 1 till 5 candies per bag? We can have 6 to 10 candies. We can have 11 to 15 candies per bag. We can have 16 to 20, or we can have 21 to 25, right? This is the number of candies, right? This represents the number of candies. Let's do a telemarking. This was 10. We put 1 over here. 1 bar. Telemarking means we would count the number of repetitions. 20, we put 1 bar. 25, we put 1 bar. 3, 1. 9, second bar. 6, another bar, right? 18, 18 is in this range. 15 is in this range. 13 is in this range. 15 is in this range. 13 again is in this range. We have a 4 is in this range. 8 is in this range. And we have an 11. 11 is to 15, right? That is the fifth value. So whenever we are doing telemarkings, right? Whenever we have the fifth value, we slash the values, okay? So we find the frequency over here. The frequency will represent how many times were they repeated. So the frequency for 1 is to 5 candies per bag was 2. The frequency 6 to 10 candies was 4. Since I have a slash, that means 11 to 15 there were 5. 16 to 20 there were 2. And 21 to 25 there were 1. So now what we have done is we have processed the ungrouped data and we have changed the ungrouped data into group data, right? And this part of the question is known as, segment is known as, what we did over here, this is known as tally markings. Okay, these are known as tally markings. So what we did was we did tally markings to simplify the data, and now we have the value for the frequencies, right? Moving on to the grid, I'll just copy the blank grid so that we can use this. Okay. Now let's try drawing a histogram, right? So what do we have on the x-axis? I already told you the first value we have is always representing the x-axis, and this would be the y-axis, right? This is the number of bags. Why is the number of bags? Because the question said it was putting the candies into the bags, right? So the number of candies and the number of bags on the y-axis. So can we say y-axis would be x-axis would be represented by number of candies, right? And what we do is we draw the axis, we label the axis, that is very important. And this, okay? And the y-axis would be representing the number of bags. We always put an arrow over here. We put an arrow, and this represents the number of bags. That is basically the frequency, right? So what is the highest frequency? What we can see is the highest frequency is 5 and the minimum is 1. So it is quite easy for us and convenient for us to take 5 gaps over here. This was 1, this was 2, this is 3, 4, and 5. We can take as many gaps as we want depending on our graph paper. My grid has a limitation, so I just took this. What are the number of candies? 1 is to 5, 1 to 5, and so on, right? So can we say this would be, this was 1 to 5, this was 6 to 10. Can we say this is 11 to 15? Can we say this is 16 to 20 candies? And can we say this is 21 to 25 candies, right? So what is the frequency? Okay, what is the frequency for? How did I get number 1? Okay, you're talking about, I'll highlight this number. I just wrote it in red, right? Agreed? Harneet, do we agree on this one? Are you talking about this one? I'll explain this. See, when we had this information given to us, these were the numbers which were given to us, right? So when we were looking at these numbers, what we did was, we from the ungrouped data, we made the group data. Yes, okay, I'll just rephrase. So what, can I just copy these numbers again? I'll just copy these numbers so that we would have them on the screen, and I will do the tally again for you, okay? So we had the same numbers. I just copied these numbers again for you. See, they're exactly. So what I did was, if I could see 10 over here, I made one marking for 10. Then I had 20. For the range of 20, I made one marking. Then the number was 25. There was one number that was in the range of 21 to 25, right? This was 3. 3 was in this range. Then it was 9. 9 is in this range, right? 6 is in this range. 18, right, is in this range. 15 is in this range. 13 is in the same range as 15, right? Then we have again 15. Then we have a 13. Then we had a 4. That means we mark over here. Then we had an 8. 8. And we had an 11. So we do a marking over here. Since there was only one, right, bag with the candies within the range of 21 to 25, right? This was the only bag. That means it has a frequency of 1 only, right? Do we agree? Do we agree on this, Harneet? Do you understand how you found the 1? Because the number in the range from 21 to 25 was, there was a single number, right? Are we on the same page? Do we agree, Harneet? Okay. So since we now know that how we got a 1 next to 21 and 25 because there was only a single number that was within this range, right? So now we take the information that was given to us, that was ungrouped data, we change it into a group data, and the group data is moved on to the histogram, right? So can we say between the range of 1 and 5 there were 2, 6 and 10 there was 4, 11, 15 there were 5, 16 and 20 there was 1, right? Let's pick up the grid. Okay, from 1 is to 5 number of candies, there were 2 bags. There were 2 bags which had 1 to 5 candies in it. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, it's good. If you ever have any question, please do ask the questions, right? I'm very happy you asked the question. Okay, so this becomes 2, right? The height is 2 because the range was between 1 is to 5. So we look between 1 and 5 and the height was 2. That was the number of bags over here. 6 to 10, right? Let's look at 6 to 10. From 6 to 10 candies in a bag, there were 4 bags, right? So we make from 6 to 10 candies, there were 4 bags. Okay. Okay. Okay, Nick. As long as I'll remember there's so many students, I'll try to call you Nick. Okay. So 6 to 10 was 4. Agreed. Then 11 to 15 should be 11 to 15 should have a height of 5, right? Because there were 5 bags. We draw this. Then the next one is 16 to 20 was 2 again. And the least number of bag was 21 to 25, right? That was 1 bag only, right? And what we do is we just simply shade the alternate just to make our grids more visible, right? The shading is always done by horizontal line or slant lines, right? Okay. Okay. Let's move on to the next question. Okay. Question number 6. Let's try another, or let's do a question from the test. Okay. I would start off with the test. Let's do a question or two from the test and let's see what they're asking us. Okay, 1 minute. I was just logged out. I just need to go back in. This is grade 8, right? Grade 8, 24, and 11. Let me just 11th over here. We open up the test. What we are doing is we are doing histograms, right? So let's do the first question from the test. Okay, we have 2 options over here. I'll just simply copy the question and I'll just copy the options. The first question we have, it says, is from the test. This is question test, question number 1. Okay. A candy dispenser puts various numbers of orange candies. Oh, very similar to the question that we already did. Okay. So the question what we did was, I'll just copy the second option on the screen so that we have both the histograms for us. And we can choose between them. Option A and option B. Okay. This is the second option we have. So through this, in this particular question, there are 2 histograms which have been given to us. And this is the information that has been provided to us, right? So using this, using this information, what we need to do is we need to see which of the bars is correct, right? So the first thing we need to do is we need to find tally markings, right? So we can define the range. They both have the same range. 1 is to 5, 6 is to 10, 1 is to 5. Can we do 1 is to 5, 6 to 10, 11 to 15, 16 to 20, and 21 to 25? Can we do the tally markings? See, 10 had 1 marking, 20 had 1 marking, 25 had 1 marking, 3 had 1 marking. Okay. If we can simply find the markings, that means we can find the frequency. 6 had one marking, 18 had one marking, 15 had one marking, 13 had one mark. 15, 13, right? We have 4, we have 8, and we have 11, right? So can we say there were 2, there were 4, there were 5, there were 2, and 1? See, both of them are 1 over here. The height is 1. Then this is fine. Then this is height is 2, this is 2, right? This height should be 5, this is 5. This height should be 4, this is 4. But this height should be 2, this is 4, right? That means option B is the correct answer. Okay? So how we do is we compare the heights of the bar, right? And we look at the heights and we can find the only difference was the first bar, right? From 1 to 5. So once we have done the tally markings, we can easily find the answer, right? Please do complete the remaining questions and best of luck. Thank you so much for being there. Take care.